OnlyFans platform, I should say, has been used by a lot of people in the, sex work field or profession, in order to, create content, generate income, etc. And OnlyFans, as the platform has made millions, as the article headline states here. But now, I guess, OnlyFans is claiming they were getting some pushback, like from the banks or something. So now they're basically banning sexually explicit content from the site after, again, making, a shit ton of money, basically, through, allowing sex workers to make and have accounts on their sites, and now, well, they're not doing that anymore. So it said, I feel used. OnlyFans made millions off sex workers' labor, then hung them out to dry. I'll link this down below. The height of the pandemic, Jessica, 33-year-old single mother, living in the suburbs of Chicago, felt like she was drowning. Her ex was paying reduced child support as a result of the crisis, which left her struggling to cover her rent for the 2-bedroom apartment she shared with her 3 kids. Her income as a loan processor wasn't enough, and she knew that her situation wasn't sustainable. So she decided to try selling nude videos of herself on OnlyFans, a subscription platform that had soared to fame in recent years as an online marketplace for homemade NSFW content. It's a scary step to take, but with hard work, it paid off. It literally doubled my income, said Jessica, who identified only her first name to protect her family's privacy. Now I'm able to provide for my children without begging for help. Even with OnlyFans claiming 20% of her earnings. Wow. So they take a pretty freaking hefty chunk off the top, a whole fucking fifth, from all of these, sex workers. So companies made itself very, very wealthy exploiting their labor, and when it wasn't convenient for them to do that anymore, they say, well, fuck you, we're able to exploit you as long as we can. In the meantime, fuck off, go find a different platform. I mean, Jesus Christ. But on Thursday afternoon, the future she started building for her own family was suddenly thrown into jeopardy. News broke that OnlyFans would be banning sexually explicit content in a matter of weeks. Announcement caused mass panic and uncertainty among sex workers who come to rely on the platform for a living, the very community whose labor helped it explode into a billion-dollar business. OnlyFans expects to net $1.2 billion this year and $2.5 billion in 2022, which would partially cash out majority owner Lee Radovinsky, Axios reports. Think about that. Literally, billion-dollar company. They've been able to generate all this wealth through exploiting these workers who are largely, again, sex workers. That is kind of what OnlyFans is synonymous with. I mean, you're not going to have an OnlyFans account if you're, a landscaper or a baker or something like that. It is for people, in the sex work industry, obviously. Many workers like Jessica have found a lifeline in OnlyFans at a time of desperation, only have it abruptly ripped away as the company reportedly attempts to court sex-weary investors. OnlyFans says the change are required to comply with the requests of its banking partners and payout providers and declined to provide more detail. I mean, yeah, just really putting all these people who rely on it, in a really bad predicament. It's really disgusting. Founded in 2016 by CEO Tim Stokely, British entrepreneur known as the 38-year-old king of homemade porn, who previously ran 2 other adult performance sites. Years later, Radovinsky, owner of the camera site MyFreeCams, acquired 75% ownership. OnlyFans told HuffPost that it will allow creators to continue sharing content containing nudity as long as it's consistent with our acceptable use policy, but declined to answer questions about what kinds of nude content would not be considered sexually explicit and therefore prohibited. The company also claimed that it would actively support and guide our creators through this change in content guidelines, but declined to answer how exactly it would do that. I mean, again, like, yeah, they're not really, they're just saying that shit. They're not really actually trying to help anybody. They're not answering these questions. Really disgusting. And again, it needs to be pointed out, all labor, whether it be sex work or otherwise in a capitalist system, if you're the worker, you are being exploited, either for your body, in the case of, sex work, or, through your body if you're a construction worker, or through your mind if you're, I don't know, a mental health therapist or whatever. So I think that always needs to be pointed out. I mean, yeah. Jesus, this person was relying on the OnlyFans income to offset the cost of chemotherapy, because again, we have a for-profit, rapacious healthcare system in the United States where you can literally, people, tens of thousands a year die because they don't have healthcare. I mean, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Sex workers built this website. They made a ton of money off it just to kick us off. She said, I feel used, and I feel for the people who, unlike me, don't have a full-time job, who solely rely on OnlyFans. This is a slap in the face. Yeah, maybe some other platforms can be created that are a little bit more friendly to sex workers and aren't so exploitive of them, where, they would be able to set up accounts there where they had previously had OnlyFans, MyFans. Yeah, but then, yeah, you got to build up that following and everything. Wow. 6 figures a month on OnlyFans. Good job. That's incredible. Donating money to sex work advocacy groups. Yeah. And this point also needs to be pointed out because, people aren't going to be able to make income online through having these OnlyFans accounts or platforms. It's going to push, some of these sex workers out onto the streets, into these, potentially vulnerable and dangerous situations, because they're not able to create this content from the safety of their home anymore. So again, there's just hugely negative outcomes probably that will result from, OnlyFans completely abandoning the people who allowed them to create so much, wealth for their investors, for the CEO, etc. Sex workers, a highly marginalized community with no U.S. labor protections, are used to be deemed platforms starting over from scratch. Companies such as Tumblr and Patron also crack down on NSFW content. Most mainstream social networks have strict rules against nudity. To many sex workers, OnlyFans was a haven that made it possible to do their job safely and securely from the comfort of their homes. I'm terrified. I don't know what I'm going to do going forward. Yeah, only job. Meanwhile, its OnlyFans attempts to rebrand into a puritanical version of itself to attract outside funding. How she's going to pay her bills. We all know what OnlyFans is for, she said, right? They should be proud of the fact they're basically a fucking porn site, and they allow all these people to take control of their lives and financial futures to try to find a way to make this work for us. Yeah, I mean, everybody is exploited to certain extent for our labor under a capitalist system, unless you're part of the owning class, unless you're a capitalist, and unless you actually own the means of production, your labor is being exploited under this capitalist economic mode of production that we have in the U.S. and a lot of places around the world. And just really, really disgusting how, sex workers are treated. And this is just another example of that, how OnlyFans literally made their fortune, made their money off of these people. And then when push came to shove, when it was no longer convenient for them to have them on the site, they kicked them off with no regard with how that was going to impact all of these people who have been able to rely on this either to supplement their income, start emergency fund, their sole income because they've lost their jobs, etc. And then also the fact of how this is going to push more people, more sex workers into dangerous and unsafe situations because they no longer have access to this OnlyFans platform where they could create content from, the safety of their home. Really, really disgusting. But again, this is what happens under capitalism. Profit is the sole objective, no matter the cost to, in this case, humans, these people who have relied on, OnlyFans for income to a, whatever extent that is. So again, just really, really disgusting. I feel really bad for, all of these people, all of these sex workers who are being put in this just really, really fucked up situation for no fault of their own, just because of this greedy company looking to maximize profit. Just completely booted them off the platform. Again, not surprising, still deeply disgusting and disturbing, but this is the kind of shit that happens in a capitalist system because, again, profit motive reigns supreme. Make more money, keep new investors happy. It's just a really, really vicious cycle that obviously places making money above the interest of people, and we see that time and time and time again. Really fucked up. Like the video if you like the damn video. Subscribe for more content. Become a patron if you're so inclined. Peace. All power to the people. Much love.